Good evening. This is All India Radio. I am Anubha Rohatgi and with me is Abhineet Shukla with the evening news. The headlines. Prime Minister Narendra Modi launches and lays foundation stone of 27 projects worth 2,000 crore rupees in Varanasi. Prime Minister says strengthening India's dairy sector is one of the top priorities of NDA government. Distributes rural residential rights record Gharoni to over 20 lakh residents of Uttar Pradesh. Kisan Divas celebrated across the country to mark birth anniversary of former Prime Minister Chaudhry Charan Singh. Prime Minister reviews COVID-19 status and preparedness in the country in view of Omicron variant. Benefits of Social Security to be extended to 38 crore labourers of unorganised sector, says Union Minister Bhupender Yadav. Government of India and European Investment Bank sign finance contract for the first tranche loan of 250 million euros for Agra Metro Rail project. Centre seeks report from Punjab government on explosion in Ludhiana District Court complex. Indian Army launches a Sigma, an indigenously developed contemporary messaging application. National Dope Testing Laboratory regains World Anti-Doping Agency accreditation. And in cricket, India beat UAE by 154 runs in the first match of 50 overs Asian Cricket Council Under-19 cricket tournament at Dubai. As India marches towards administering 150 crore vaccine doses against COVID-19, news about the new corona variant is a cause of concern. In this situation, we appeal to our listeners to get fully vaccinated at the earliest and help others get vaccinated. Please continue to follow these 3 simple steps to stay safe. Wear a face mask, maintain 2 gaz ki doori for social distancing, focus on hand and face hygiene. For any COVID-related information and guidance, contact national helpline numbers 011 239 78046 and 1075. And now the news. Prime Minister Narendra Modi today said that the White Revolution can play an important role in increasing the income of farmers, and that is why our double-engine government is continuously supporting the farmers in the dairy sector. He was speaking after launching and laying the foundation of 27 developmental projects worth over 2,000 crore rupees in his parliamentary constituency, Varanasi. In order to strengthen the rural economy and help farmers of the region, the Prime Minister laid the foundation stone of Banas Dairy Sankul at Uttar Pradesh State Industrial Development Authority Food Park at Karkhyao in Varanasi.
सहकारिता क्षेत्र में अहम भूमिका निभाने वाली बनास डेयरी और पूर्वांचल के किसानों गोपालकों के बीच आज से एक नई साझेदारी शुरू हुई है। ये आधुनिक डेयरी प्लांट जब तैयार हो जाएगा तो पिंडरा ही नहीं, शिवपुरी, शिवपुर, सेवापुरी, रोहनिया और गाजीपुर, जौनपुर, चंदौली, मिर्जापुर, बलिया, आजमगढ़, मऊ जैसे जिलों के हजारों लाखों किसानों को इससे लाभ होगा।
Spread across 30 acres of land, the dairy will be built at a cost of about 475 crore rupees and will have a facility for processing 5 lakh litre of milk per day. The Prime Minister said that from the ancient times, cows have been the symbol of prosperity in our country, but the dairy sector was neglected for some time.
हमारे यहाँ गाय की बात करना, गोबर धन की बात करना, कुछ लोगों ने ऐसे हालात पैदा कर दिए हैं जैसे कोई गुनाह कर रहे हैं। गाय कुछ लोगों के लिए गुनाह हो सकती है, हमारे लिए गाय माता है। गाय भैंस का मजाक उड़ाने वाले लोग ये भूल जाते हैं कि देश के 8 करोड़ परिवारों की आजीविका ऐसे ही पशुधन से चलती है। इन्हीं परिवारों की मेहनत से आज भारत हर साल लगभग 8.5 लाख करोड़ रुपए का दूध उत्पादन करता है।
Mr. Modi said that strengthening India's dairy sector is one of the top priorities of the NDA government. He added that today UP is not only the largest milk producing state in the country, it is also significantly ahead in the expansion of the dairy sector. Prime Minister Modi asserted that dairy sector, animal husbandry and the new push for white revolution will play a big role in transforming the lives of farmers. During his address, Mr. Modi paid tribute to former Prime Minister Chaudhry Charan Singh on his birth anniversary, which is celebrated as Kisan Divas. The Prime Minister appealed to the farmers to move forward towards natural farming. He also laid the foundation stone for a biogas-based electricity generation plant for the Milk Producers Cooperative Union plant at Ramnagar in Varanasi. In another effort to reduce the land ownership issues at grassroots level, the Prime Minister virtually distributed the Rural Residential Rights Record Gharani under the Swamitva scheme to over 20 lakh residents of Uttar Pradesh.
किसानों को आत्मनिर्भर बनाने, उनको अवैध कब्जे से चिंता मुक्त करने में स्वामित्व योजना की भी बहुत बड़ी भूमिका है। मुझे संतोष है कि योगी जी के नेतृत्व में यूपी इसमें भी अग्रणी है। यूपी के सभी 75 जिलों में 23 लाख से अधिक घरौनी तैयार हो चुके हैं। इनमें से करीब 21 लाख परिवारों को आज ये दस्तावेज दिए गए हैं।
Mr. Modi also launched multiple urban development projects and education sector projects in Varanasi. New projects are bringing unprecedented ease and convenience for the people of the city. The Prime Minister assured that projects started today will further strengthen the health, education and infrastructure-related image of the city. He said that people who have viewed the politics of Uttar Pradesh from the prism of caste, creed and religion get upset by the talk of double power of double engine.
डबल इंजन की डबल शक्ति और डबल विकास की बात करता हूं तो कुछ लोगों को जरा कष्ट ज्यादा ही हो जाता है। ये वो लोग हैं जिन्होंने उत्तर प्रदेश की राजनीति को सिर्फ और सिर्फ जाति, पंथ, मत, मजहब के चश्मे से ही देखा। इन लोगों ने कभी नहीं चाहा कि यूपी का विकास हो, यूपी की आधुनिक पहचान बने। स्कूल, कॉलेज, अस्पताल, सड़क, पानी, बिजली, गरीबों के घर, गैस कनेक्शन, शौचालय, इनको तो वो विकास मानते ही नहीं है।
On the occasion, Chief Minister Yogi Adityanath said that after the recent inauguration of Kashi Vishwanath Dham, the whole world is looking towards Varanasi, which is getting not just physical but spiritual development as well. More from our correspondent.
Apart from milk, the Banas dairy plant will also produce 50,000 liters of ice cream, 20-ton paneer, buttermilk, curd, lassi and Amul sweets per day. The plant will have a bakery unit and will also include a take-home ration plant to produce nutritional supplements for women and children. This project will benefit the local farmers of around 1,000 neighboring villages of Purvanchal region, and they will get around 8,000 to 10,000 for their milk per month. The proposed biogas plant at Varanasi Milk Plant Ramnagar is also unique, and it will use around 100 metric ton of cow dung per day, which shall be aggregated from minimum 2,000 farmers and goshalas within radius of about 10 kilometers of the dairy plant. Farmers supplying dung shall be paid about ₹1 per kg of dung upfront and would also be supplied with solid and liquid manure at subsidized rates through reverse supply chain. Varanasi dairy plant will be the first dairy plant in the country meeting its energy need from cow dung. Sushil Chandra Tiwari, AIR News, Varanasi.
Kisan Divas was celebrated throughout the country today to mark the birth anniversary of the 5th Prime Minister of India, Chaudhry Charan Singh. In addition, the day is celebrated in honor of the contribution of Indian farmers and to glorify their importance in the country. Vice President M. Venkaiah Naidu paid tributes to former Prime Minister Chaudhry Charan Singh on his birth anniversary. He said that Chaudhry Charan Singh was a champion of farmer rights. Mr. Naidu has also expressed gratitude to the industrious farmers on Kisan Divas. He called upon all stakeholders to make every effort to make farming profitable and ensure that our farmers are duly recognized and rewarded for their hard work. Prime Minister Narendra Modi is chairing a meeting to review the COVID-19 related situation in the country amid the rising cases of COVID variant Omicron. In a review meeting last month, Prime Minister had directed officials to work closely with the state governments to ensure that there is proper awareness at the state and the district level. He also directed that intensive containment and active surveillance should continue in clusters reporting higher cases. He stressed on the adoption of COVID-appropriate behavior like masking and social distancing to avoid the spread of COVID-19. The centre has asked states and union territories to not let their guard down and maintain their preparedness for fighting COVID in view of the new Omicron variant. Union Health Secretary Rajesh Bhushan reviewed public health preparedness of the states for fighting COVID along with progress of vaccination with state health secretaries and National Health Mission MDs through video conference today. He re-emphasized the 5-4 strategy of containment, testing and surveillance, clinical management, COVID-safe behavior and vaccination. The states were asked to keep a close and strict watch on the number of Delta and Omicron cases in all districts, case positivity, doubling rate and new emerging clusters and initiate containment in these areas. They were advised to impose night curfews and ensure strict regulation of large gatherings, especially ahead of the forthcoming festivities. They were also asked to promptly notify containment zones and buffer zones in case of new clusters of COVID-positive cases. States going in for elections in the near future were asked to exponentially ramp up the vaccination, especially in the low-coverage districts, to protect the vulnerable population. States were urged to ensure 100% coverage of the left-out first and second dose eligible beneficiaries in an accelerated manner. The Union Government has said a total of 236 cases of COVID variant Omicron have been reported so far in the country. Out of these, 104 patients have already recovered. Maximum number of 65 cases have been reported so far from Maharashtra, followed by Delhi and Telangana. Overall, Omicron cases have been reported in 16 states and union territories. The Health and Family Welfare Ministry today said over 140 crore 24 lakh doses of COVID vaccines have been administered in the country under the nationwide vaccination drive. The national recovery rate is 98.40%.
Over 60% of the eligible population in India is fully vaccinated now. In a tweet, Union Health Minister Mansukh Mandavia said, aided by public participation and dedicated efforts of health workers, over 60% of the eligible population in the country is now fully vaccinated. The Madhya Pradesh government has imposed night curfew from today till further orders in view of rising COVID-19 cases. The night curfew will remain in force from 11 p.m. to 5 a.m. Chief Minister Shivraj Singh Chauhan addressed people of the state this evening. Earlier today, the Chief Minister held a review meeting of corona infection control and vaccination. Delhi Chief Minister Arvind Kejriwal today said capacity has been created to conduct 3 lakh COVID tests daily and home isolation management protocol is being strengthened in view of Omicron threat. Briefing media this evening, Mr. Kejriwal said that with the preparations, 1 lakh daily cases can be handled if the need arises. Head of the Africa Centers for Disease Control CDC, John Nkangasong, has said that South Africa Omicron data should not be extrapolated to all countries across the world. In an online media briefing yesterday, he said that Omicron coronavirus variant was found 70 to 80% less severe than Delta in South Africa. But, he said, it may not be applicable to all countries and the data should be interpreted with a lot of caution. In our bilingual live phone-in program, Corona Jagrukta series, Dr. Harish Pemde, pediatrician, LHMC, New Delhi, will be with us today to answer queries related to coronavirus. This live program can be heard on FM Gold channel and additional frequencies from 9:30 p.m. onwards. Listeners can ask questions to the expert from 9:30 p.m. on telephone numbers 011 2342 1230 and 011 23421764. You can also post your queries on our Twitter handle at AIR News Alerts by hashtag AskAIR. The program will also be available on our website newsonair.nic.in and on our YouTube channel News on AIR Official.
You are listening to the evening news on All India Radio. A reminder of the headlines before we move on. Prime Minister Narendra Modi launches and lays foundation stone of 27 projects worth 2,000 crore rupees in Varanasi. Prime Minister says strengthening India's dairy sector is one of the top priorities of NDA government, distributes rural residential rights record Gharoni to over 20 lakh residents of Uttar Pradesh. Kisan Divas celebrated across the country to mark the birth anniversary of former Prime Minister Chaudhry Charan Singh. Prime Minister reviews COVID-19 status and preparedness in the country in view of the Omicron variant. Benefits of Social Security to be extended to 38 crore labourers of unorganised sector, says Union Minister Bhupender Yadav. Government of India and European Investment Bank signed finance contract for first tranche loan of 250 million euros for Agra Metro Rail project. Centre seeks report from Punjab government on explosion in Ludhiana District Court complex. Indian Army launches a Sigma, an indigenously developed contemporary messaging application. National Dope Testing Laboratory regains World Anti-Doping Agency accreditation. And in cricket, India beat UAE by 154 runs in first match of 50 overs Asian Cricket Council Under-19 cricket tournament in Dubai. For quick news updates round the clock, follow us on Twitter at AIR News Alerts.
चलो मिलकर एक शुरुआत करें, चलो एक फैसला आज करें, मास्क नहीं तो टोकेंगे, कोरोना को रोकेंगे, चलो एक इरादा करते हैं, चलो कुछ वादा करते हैं, मास्क नहीं तो टोकेंगे, कोरोना को रोकेंगे.
Welcome back to the evening news. Union Minister for Labour and Employment Bhupinder Yadav today said benefits of Social Security would be extended to 38 crore labourers of the unorganised sector, including craftsmen and artisans of the country. Inaugurating the 35th Hunar Haat at Jawaharlal Nehru Stadium in New Delhi, Mr. Yadav said that his ministry has identified 400 types of occupations, including traditional art and crafts. The minister said under Social Security schemes, insurance of 2 lakh rupees, including health insurance, Social Security and old age related benefits will be provided to niche level artisans. He said so far 14 crore labourers have been registered on the eShram portal. The minister further added that 2 large-scale surveys of migrant labourers and domestic workers are also underway, which will provide necessary know-how for formulations of welfare policies and schemes. Mr. Yadav said the Hunar Haat helps artisans and craftsmen to exchange their innovation, crafts and technology.
जो हमारे हुनरमंद भाई आ रहे हैं, इनको आने के लिए प्रेरित करने के लिए इनको मानदेय देना, प्रतिदिन इनका सम्मान का मानदेय प्राप्त करवाना, इनको आने जाने की व्यवस्था करना, क्योंकि ये जो हुनर था, ये हुनर अपने एक छोटे से कस्बे में, अपने छोटे से शहर तक, उधर तक सीमित, लेकिन आज इसकी राष्ट्रीय और अंतर्राष्ट्रीय पहचान बनी. आज ये सभी हमारे हुनरमंद भाई जो आते हैं, आने के बाद एक दूसरे की जो नवाचार है, एक दूसरे की जो तकनीक है, उनको देखते हैं और समझते हैं और आगे बढ़कर के आगे बढ़ने का काम करते हैं. ये लोकल से वोकल है, लोकल से इंटरनेशनल बनाने की जो पूरी रचना माननीय प्रधानमंत्री जी के नेतृत्व में शुरू हुई है, ये भारत को आगे बढ़ाने वाली रचना है.
The theme of 35th Hunar Haat is Local for Global. The Ministry of Minority Affairs is the nodal agency for the 14-day-long event, which will conclude on 5th January next year. Talking to media at the venue, Minority Affairs Minister Mukhtar Abbas Naqvi said more than 700 artisans and craftsmen from 30 states are taking part in the event. Mr. Naqvi said the Hunar Haat initiative was launched in 2016 and due to hand-holding provided by the government, so far more than 7.5 lakh indigenous artists have got opportunities and employment through this initiative. The Government of India and the European Investment Bank yesterday signed a finance contract for the first tranche loan of 250 million euros for the Agra Metro Rail project. Prime Minister Narendra Modi had inaugurated construction work of Agra Metro project last year through video conference. The European Investment Bank has approved a total loan of 450 million euros to fund the Agra Metro Rail project. The project aims to provide safe, reliable, affordable and environmental-friendly public mass rapid transport system for Agra city.
The centre has sought a report from the Punjab government on the explosion in Ludhiana District Court complex. Sources said the Union Home Ministry has asked the state to send a report about the incident. An explosion in the court complex this afternoon left 1 person dead and 5 injured and demolished a part of second floor. Punjab CM Charanjit Singh Channi, after visiting the court complex, said that it seems the person who was killed was responsible for the explosion. Condemning the blast incident, he said an investigation is underway. Reiterating his concerns over the challenges to the state's peace, security and law and order from across the border, former Chief Minister Captain Amrinder Singh condemned the blast in the court complex. Punjab in charge of BJP, Gajendra Singh Shekhawat, said some forces are trying to push Punjab again to the times of terrorism. Indian Army today launched a contemporary messaging application named a Sigma. ASIGMA stands for Army Secure Indigenous Messaging Application. It is a new generation state-of-the-art web-based application developed entirely in-house by a team of officers of the Corps of Signals of the Army. The application is being deployed on the Army's internal network as a replacement for Army-wide data network messaging application, which has been in service for the past 15 years. This is All India Radio giving you the news. For quick news updates round the clock, follow us on our Twitter handle @AIR News Alerts.
मुख्यमंत्री योगी आदित्यनाथ जी के नेतृत्व में उत्तर प्रदेश विकास की नई रफ्तार पकड़ चुका है। एक्सप्रेसवेज, मेट्रो सेवाएं और एयरपोर्ट शुरू होने से इंफ्रास्ट्रक्चर के विकास के नए आयाम गढ़े जा रहे हैं।
4 नए एक्सप्रेसवे, 5 शहरों में मेट्रो सेवाएं शुरू और नए एयरपोर्ट शुरू हो चुके हैं। सड़क के साथ ही अब एयर कनेक्टिविटी में भी प्रदेश का दायरा काफी बढ़ चुका है। उत्तर प्रदेश देश में इकलौता राज्य है जहाँ 5 इंटरनेशनल एयरपोर्ट संचालित हैं।
इंफ्रास्ट्रक्चर के ये कार्य आर्थिक और औद्योगिक विकास को पंख लगाने का काम करेंगे। मुख्यमंत्री योगी आदित्यनाथ के संकल्प से उत्तर प्रदेश का नव निर्माण हो रहा है और ये नए भारत के निर्माण में योगदान दे रहा है।
सोच ईमानदार, काम दमदार। उत्तर प्रदेश सरकार द्वारा जनहित में प्रसारित।
Best wishes to all consumers for Azadi Ka Amrit Mahotsav. Hallmark ensures purity of gold. Always purchase Hallmark Gold Jewelry. For any consumer-related complaints, please contact National Consumer Helpline toll-free number 14404. Issued in public interest by Department of Consumer Affairs, Government of India. Jago Grahak Jago. Let's listen to our special program Azadi Ka Safar, highlighting the importance of the day during the freedom struggle.
आजादी का अमृत महोत्सव।
Azadi Ka Safar with AIR News. Birth of a Nation. India's glorious freedom struggle is one of the greatest struggles the modern world has ever witnessed. AIR News brings you a glimpse of this struggle every day.
In today's episode, we remember the valiant warrior of the War of Independence, Swami Shraddhanand, who died on 23rd of December 1926. An Arya Samaj sannyasi, he propagated the teachings of Dayananda Saraswati and worked for social reforms in the 1920s.
Swami Shraddhanand founded Gurukul on the 16th of May 1900 at Gujranwala, which was later moved to Haridwar.
During the national struggle for independence in the year 1919, he plunged into the agitation under the leadership of Gandhiji. He helped organize protests against the Rowlatt Act. When Gandhiji was arrested, Swami Shraddhanand led a protest march in Delhi, and when a soldier threatened to fire upon the crowd, he bared his chest and dared him to shoot. As a social worker, he always worked to improve the conditions of the poor and the downtrodden. In the words of Mahatma Gandhi, he lived a hero and died a hero.
We also remember freedom fighter and 5th Prime Minister of India, Chaudhry Charan Singh, who was born on the 23rd of December 1902 in Meerut, Uttar Pradesh. Charan Singh followed Mahatma Gandhi in non-violent struggle for independence and left his lucrative law career to join the freedom movement. From 1930 to 1947, he served several years in jail for participating in various struggles against the British government.
After independence, Charan Singh dedicated his life to the cause of farmers. He served as Chief Minister of Uttar Pradesh twice and was elected the 5th Prime Minister of India in 1979.
जिनके पास कम रोजगार और अपने देश के 50% से अधिक किसान जिनके पास 4 बीघे जमीन से कम है, इन सब की तरफ गवर्नमेंट का विशेष ध्यान होगा।
We salute the great nationalist and leader of farmers.
We also remember freedom fighter P. Kakkan, who left us on the 23rd of December 1981. Fondly known as Kakkanji, he was born on the 18th of June 1908 in Tumbaipatti, Melur in Madras Presidency. Kakkan was drawn to the independence movement during his youth. In 1939, when the state government brought the Temple Entry Authorization and Indemnity Act, Kakkan led the temple entry of so-called lower castes at Madurai. He participated in the Quit India movement and was sent to Alipur jail. In 1946, he was elected to the Constituent Assembly.
After independence, Kakkan served as minister in the Tamil Nadu state government. We salute the great nationalist.
भारत के 44वें स्वतंत्रता दिवस के इस शुभ अवसर पर मैं आप सबको अभिवादन करता हूं। मैं एक साधारण कार्यकर्ता हूं जिसका जन्म एक छोटे से गांव में हुआ था। लोकतंत्र की महिमा है, आपका आशीर्वाद है और मेरा अहोभाग्य है कि मैं आज इस ऐतिहासिक लाल किले से आपको संबोधित कर रहा हूं।
The 23rd of December is also the death anniversary of P.V. Narasimha Rao. Born on the 28th of June 1921, Narasimha Rao was active during the Indian independence movement. P.V. Narasimha Rao was part of Vande Mataram movement in the late 1930s in the Hyderabad state.
Narasimha Rao secured representation for depressed classes in politics during his tenure as Chief Minister of Andhra Pradesh. He served as the 9th Prime Minister of India from 1991 to 1996.
He is credited to have laid the foundation of economic reforms and the reintegration of the Indian economy with the global economy in 1991.
Narasimha Rao was also an accomplished linguist. Rao's mother tongue was Telugu, but he also had an excellent command over 8 Indian languages and 8 foreign languages. That brings us to the end of this episode of Azadi Ka Safar with AIR News. See you in the next episode tomorrow.
Youth Affairs and Sports Minister Anurag Thakur today said the National Dope Testing Laboratory has regained the World Anti-Doping Agency WADA accreditation. In a series of tweets, Mr. Thakur said restoration of accreditation is a boost to India's efforts to achieve the highest global standards of excellence in sport. He termed it as a result of untiring efforts by the government. The minister said last week in Parliament the government introduced the National Anti-Doping Bill 2021, which is another step in India's quest to become a sporting powerhouse. In cricket, India beat UAE by 154 runs in the first match of 50 overs Asian Cricket Council Under-19 cricket tournament at Dubai today. Put into bat, India scored 282 for 5 in 50 overs. In reply, UAE were bowled out for 128 in 34.3 overs. Now let us take a look at the weather forecast for tomorrow. The national capital Delhi will have partly cloudy sky. Chennai will have misty sky. Mumbai and Kolkata will have mainly clear sky. And now before we end the bulletin, the headlines once again. Prime Minister Narendra Modi launches and lays foundation stone of 27 projects worth 2,000 crore rupees in Varanasi. Prime Minister says strengthening India's dairy sector is one of the top priorities of NDA government. Distributes rural residential rights record Kharoni to over 20 lakh residents of Uttar Pradesh. Kisan Divas celebrated across the country to mark birth anniversary of former Prime Minister Chaudhry Charan Singh. Prime Minister reviews COVID-19 status and preparedness in the country in view of Omicron variant. Benefits of Social Security to be extended to 38 crore labourers of unorganized sector, says Union Minister Bhupinder Yadav. Government of India and European Union Investment Bank sign finance contract for first tranche loan of 250 million euros for Agra Metro Rail project. Centre seeks report from Punjab government on explosion in Ludhiana District Court complex. National Dope Testing Laboratory regains World Anti-Doping Agency accreditation. And in cricket, India beat UAE by 154 runs in the first match of 50 overs Asian Cricket Council Under-19 cricket tournament at Dubai. For details of these stories and more, log on to our website www.newsonair.gov.in. And with that, we end the evening news. Good night.